because that was a complaint. He kept looking at me the entire time he was looking at the camera. Hi guys, it's Sydney Walker here with Coffee and Politics Online. Sorry about getting started late. Councilman West was at Halpern Park for the grand opening.
Yeah, we had the official opening today at Halpern Park, bridging District 1 and District 4.
Yes.
Connecting the two neighborhoods, and really, you know, that the Highway 35 is what divided the neighborhood so many decades ago.
Yes.
So to have this new bridge bringing our communities together is just outstanding.
Nigel and I pass by it quite frequently because we have to take 35 to get to his school, and he has been asking about it.
Yeah.
And we are big Clyde Warren people. We go there all the time. So I am very excited to go check out the new park.
I think, you know, I'm biased because it's touching my district.
Of course.
And we go to Clyde Warren Park at least once a month.
Yes.
We being me and my family.
Yes.
And I would say I like the amenities for kids even better at Halpern.
Really?
Yeah, my kids haven't had a chance to try them yet. And they're going to be the judges. But it's cool and it's different. And some of the things they can climb on or stuff you don't see it. I haven't seen it at other parks. We certainly don't have some of these elements. My kids love to climb.
Right.
So I'm always judging the park amenities for kids based on the climbing apparatus. And I think they're going to love it. They're going to love it. Preston, my son, just turned 9 on...
Oh, yeah, you have young babies.
I got babies, yeah, on Wednesday. And
happy birthday to him.
On Thursday.
Oh
my gosh, on Thursday. And yes, thank you. And we were driving by a couple weeks ago to go to the zoo, and he drove by, and without any prompting or anything, he's like, "That is the coolest park I've ever seen." Really? Yeah. So I've been using that in my speech, of course, you know, because it's unprompted endorsement by a 9-year-old.
Wow. Well, yes, we will swing by this weekend because we have pizza date night. I was told that it's one of his Nigel's favorite activities. And we started that because we wanted him to have proper table manners.
Okay.
When he finally goes on a date.
Proper table manners are very important. Not sitting up with your knees on the table, or sometimes my kids try to put a foot on the table. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Where are y'all going for pizza night? We
normally go to Whole Foods.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we go to the one that's on McKinney, and we sit out on the patio, and we have our special drinks, and we cheers each other, and we act very bougie.
Very bougie?
Yes, we act like we are part of the upper echelon of the world while we're having our pizza.
I think, I'll shop at Whole Foods sometimes. I don't think in all these years I've ever had a pizza from there. Is it really good?
Yes.
It is?
You need to go.
They got it done. They got it done right, huh?
Yes. And maybe because I'm biased because we've been going there for years, but hands down, it has been some of the best pizza that we had. Did you not go to? Okay, so we're just talking about events here in Dallas because people talk about how there's not enough programming, and so we have Councilman West here from District 1, and I want people to know that there's lots going on in the city.
It's nonstop. Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff going on in the city, and pizzas are fighting words depending on in Oak Cliff. I mean, I'm willing to go there, but if we want to talk about where to go to get good pizza, I have my favorites. I got to be careful what I say on the show though.
So yes, because I noticed I didn't see you at Italy a couple of weekends for their pizza fest.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yes.
No, I didn't get it.
It was all you could eat.
What?
Yes. It was all you wanted, adult and non-adult beverages. So I have someone who's 21, so she was happy to go. It's like we continue to celebrate her 21st birthday everywhere we go.
Wow. Okay, so I'm sure the pizza's good at Italy, I have no doubt. Because their pasta's amazing.
Yes. So check out the events. They have pasta making classes. And I will say for my district, I would like to get some of those kind of amenities in District 7.
I think it's worth talking about, some ways to do that. If we have time on the show, but I want to close the gap on the pizza for just a minute.
Okay,
if you were going to go out for date night, I would, if you're willing to try something different other than Whole Foods, we've got some great options in North Oak Cliff. and they're locally owned. And
I
they
like that.
locally owned, and you can support small, support local. I'm not going to tell you my favorite, but I will tell you a few good ones.
Okay.
I'll tell you a few good ones.
Yes, please do.
Eno's is the very first pizza place I ever went to when I moved to Oak Cliff.
Okay.
So I've been. That's not true. There we had Vito's back in the day where Oddfellows is now. I had pizza there at one point, but it's closed. Of course, Oddfellows has been there for forever.
Oh, yes.
But Eno's came in. I'm guessing it's been there 12 years, 13 years. And if you like the real flat kind of cracker type crust,
yes,
it's outstanding. It's truly outstanding pizza.
Margarita pizza? Who has really good margarita?
Ooh, that is a great question. I would probably go check out Cibo di Vino for that. You know, Cibo di Vino, it's like an Italian market. It's in Sylvan 30, not in my district.
Okay.
It's right across the north side of 30 in District 6.
Yes.
Right there by what was the old Belmont Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got, it's like an Italian market, so you can get stuff there. And their pizzas are really good. And I'm sure they've got a margarita pizza. Now, we're meat eaters in my house.
Yes.
And so, I'm not getting the margarita pizza very often. But I would say.
You could get prosciutto put on it, though.
Yeah, you get some prosciutto put on there. Nova is a locally owned place.
I know Nova. Yes.
If you want adult beverages, they know how to do it right.
Yes,
at Nova,
they do.
for sure.
Yes. So I have always talked about your district in Davis Street and how there's an opportunity to make MLK and or Robert B. Cullum. Thank you. So
you're
much.
amazing. Thank you so much.
Robert B. Cullum, like the South Dallas of Bishop Arts, and have the amenities, locally owned retail restaurants, because as much as I love Deep Ellum, because I'm a Dallasite, born and raised here, I remember all of the iterations that Deep Ellum has gone through. I want the grunge to come back to Deep Ellum. I want to stay home sometimes in my own neighborhood.
Yeah, of course. Well, tell me, I'm kind of curious because this gets into land use and zoning.
Yes.
And
it is a perfect segue.
And how to keep small businesses functional while you have growth and gentrification, right? And this has been some of the battles that have existed in Oak Cliff long before my time.
Yes.
I am a planning nerd, and so for me, I've taken hits for it politically, certainly for making that a priority in my district, and I don't regret any of it because
that was one of the questions that I got.
Not at all, ever.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do more while in my last term. So, but I am curious to hear your thoughts on what is it you like about Davis Street.
The variety.
Okay.
It's walkable. Their father lived in Bishop Arts in one of the converted houses. It was a duplex.
Yeah.
So you wanted to go eat, you just walk right over. You could shop. I had a hairdresser that was over there, and of course I'm having to commute instead of just put my shoes on and just walk over. And the entire area just felt walkable for everything. That's what I liked about it. You had your gyms over there.
Yep.
Even though they weren't big commercial gyms, which is fine. The retail, the small mom and pop style shops, which is reminiscent of what used to be in South Dallas when the Jews lived here and when the switchover started happening, because I remember Oakland Avenue having tons of shops because of Lincoln High School being down the street, and Flores, all of those things. And we have 2 athletic stores. I haven't gone to them because I barefoot run, so I assume they don't have barefoot running shoes.
We got to come back and talk about that. I've read about that. That's an amazing thing. But let's bookmark that.
Yeah. So, even in DeSoto, with the median income there being significantly higher than it is in South Dallas, they still just have a plethora of fast food restaurants. The check cashing places, like those of us that have the disposable income, we don't have anywhere to go. And so that is a huge missing. And it's kind of like, well, why is it taking so daggone long? And I've already got my letter for PD 595, the zoning being changed, and I've been going to all the meetings and whatnot. So I'm involved and I'm keeping up on it. But I heard growing up how South Dallas was going to get gentrified. And here I am at my big age, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's finally getting here. And I'm like, I'm going to be close to my back nine here soon. I want to enjoy some of it. A tattoo shop. I would like to go get a massage. I would not have to go to the Crescent Hotel to go or to Uptown or, stay local in my neighborhood.
So in the new zoning that has come forward in Oak Cliff, in the time that I've been in there, a lot of the development, all the stuff that happened in Bishop Arts, the protections along Jefferson to keep the facades in place, everything in Lake Cliff, all those apartments along Jefferson Boulevard and Lancaster, those were all zoned before my time.
Yes.
So when I came into office, I think I've even said this on your show before, well, actually before I came into office, when I was appointed by Scott Griggs as plan commissioner, it was literally like the next day that the El Corazon de Tejas restaurant was demolished, and the CVS came up with a parking lot in its place. And that was my guiding light to be of the mindset that we cannot allow this kind of development to happen unless that's what the community wants, because the community clearly did not want it. Scott Griggs got like 500 angry emails and letters saying, one, we're upset about this restaurant closing, but the family made a lot of money with that.
I had been there, and I thought it just stuck out. It did not
the CVS
fit, into the character of the neighborhood.
So everything around that corner, and that's not the corner, if you know District 1, it's the corner of Davis and Zhang. It's where the streetcar ends. And everything around that corner was planned out, again, before my time, and has developed up around a streetcar stop like you would think it should, right?
Right.
But then you have this big CVS parking lot and a relatively nice looking CVS that's right there, taking up space in an area where you should have more density, you should have restaurants, you should have things that people in the neighborhood want. CVS doesn't need to be right in that prime location, right?
Right.
And
all the parking.
And the parking. But the neighbors were upset about the loss of the restaurant. They were upset about the loss of the historic building that was there, not protected historic, but still historic in our eyes, and then upset about the bad land use. And the reason why that came about is because there was no planning, it was 1960s zoning that was in place for that corner. So that kicked me into gear to say, we're not going to let that happen for the rest of the district that doesn't have any zoning updates since the 1960s. And that led to the West Oak Cliff Area Plan. We call it WOCAP. And it basically ended up being like 5 years of battles, both during my re-election campaign and everything else.
Yes.
But your mention of Davis Street is what gave me a reminder about that, because at the end of the day, when we heard from the community, they didn't say we love Davis Street and we want to use it, but it ended up being that's what the community wanted. They wanted this mix of where our car shops that fix your cars that are owned mostly by like a lot of our longtime Hispanic residents, that those could still thrive, which they do on Davis immensely.
Yes.
But then in the infill where you've got the vacant lots and the vacant buildings, restaurants, tattoo shops, I mentioned massage places, like things could pop in and populate in there like it's been done amongst Davis. What the neighbors said they didn't want along Hampton and Clarendon and down in Elmwood, they weren't looking for a new Bishop Arts. They didn't want the 5-story wrapped apartments with the uber density that's going to push everyone out. They wanted like a mix, and that's what we put into place. Now it's going to be years before we see the results of it, but I'm hopeful it will come about. So in your zoning quest for South Dallas, I would just encourage you, look at the areas that have developed in the ways you like, and Davis Street sounds like it is, and just see what if the zoning's kind of modeled for that.
So on the 21st, I do believe I would have to look at my calendar. The South Dallas area plan is moving forward. It's been approved and is moving forward, and we're making changes to it because there is development that is happening with District 2 and 7 border around Exposition.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. So for those of y'all who may know and may not know, and we're going to talk about barefoot running here towards the end, because I've run from my house, Park South YMCA. I'm a frequent flyer through Deep Ellum. Before the K-Bay Hutchings Center came completely down, y'all destroyed my route. I'm going to tell y'all that.
What?
Because I would go from Harwood, Statler, Omni, Jack Evans, and then back to Harwood to come back into South Dallas. And I'm pissed now because I can't get through the convention center.
Are you marathon training?
Yes.
You are and you do the whole route barefoot?
That's 6 miles. I have barefoot running shoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're like real thin and
very thin, absolutely no cushion, and I've been doing that since almost 13. So for 13 years I've been doing that.
Good for you.
And I got her a pair. She needs a little bit more support than I do with the running. But it's great. I mean, it changes your gait.
Mm-hmm.
It gets your core involved. And it strengthens your feet. Like, I am one with the ground. You hit cracks, rocks. You don't even pay attention to it. And I've had a hairline fracture in my heel from heel striking, because that's how they taught us how to run way back. But yeah, from my house, that whole loop is like a little over 6 miles.
I've read a book called Born to Run.
Yes.
You have that?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great book, and it busts the myth on. Is are running shoes really necessary or not?
Yes.
The answer is they're not.
Not.
There are a lot of people that have embraced the fact that humans were not born to wear shoes. We were like every other animal,
yes.
And over time we evolved wearing these shoes.
Yes.
But our bodies haven't evolved to go with it.
No,
so it tricks your body to really not be able to absorb the impact, and no cushion's gonna fix that. I'm describing it terribly. But
no, you're perfect. You're perfect, because the thing is that because I used to be a trainer, former dietitian, and again, like I said, I had a hairline fracture in my heel because we were taught to heel strike. And technically, you should run, which is whatever your foot strike is. That's natural for your body, but most people it is midfoot, balls of the feet, because that's where all the cushion is.
That's right.
Not on the heel.
I still run in tennis shoes.
Okay.
And I ran the Dallas Marathon last year for the first time.
Oh, how was that?
It was a beating. It was so cold. Remember? Were you out there for it?
No.
It was like 33 degrees, and then the wind chill made it in the 20s.
Yes.
It was terrible.
We did the Urban Frost right before it.
Was it cold too?
It was, but not like that.
It was awful.
Yeah. Now, by the end of it, I had to strip.
Yeah.
And take my jacket off, and so talk about running. One of the things that I like about it is that I get to see all over the city. It's
a benefit. Yeah.
Yes. So I have run from my house to Katy Trail, to Knox Henderson, and down, because that was my half marathon route to get my mind ready for the distance.
You see a lot of neighborhoods doing that. It's great.
Yes, so you get to see a lot of the development. You get to see a lot of the changes that have happened. And I know for South Dallas, we have the Santa Fe Trail that is connecting to Fair Park. And we're bouncing around here, but the thing is that those amenities and the planning that goes along with that. And you did mention Clarendon, so
Clarendon?
Yeah, did I say it incorrectly?
I've always just said Clarendon. That's what we say in Oak Cliff, at least.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Because I'm a Lancaster, not Lancaster.
Lancaster. Maybe it's just my Midwestern roots coming in here.
So there was some complaints. People feel like you're a team developer versus the residents and the neighborhoods, and that was one area that you caught a lot of heat over with the development there. So talk about that.
Sure. Well, I mentioned a couple minutes ago the WOCAP, West
Yes.
Oak Cliff Area Plan, and the request for that plan came from neighbors. So that originated from neighbors. So did the downzoning of Jimtown, which is a 98% Hispanic area, led by Mary Lou Paris and Teresita Delgado, the great neighbors of mine, senior ladies. Downtown Elmwood was part of that plan, and then I'm missing one. This little amazing old little streetcar stop at the corner of Pierce and Catherine, about 5 blocks behind Maton Thumb on Hampton in my district. Those are and then there was a 5th one that we deauthorized. We never did the zoning for it because neighbors didn't want it.
Okay.
But of the 4 that survived, we started off with an area plan. The area plan went through COVID, through multiple years, and it became very political. I mean, it became like the dividing.
Which it always does.
It did. It ended up there were some very valid concerns, especially early on, with the way staff was not communicating well with the community. Okay. And part of that was challenges with COVID, trying to figure out how to get to people. Part of it was, a lot of our Hispanic community in Oak Cliff has been marginalized and treated poorly by the city for generations, right? There's also nationally a distrust of national politics and on people not wanting to register for COVID, and we were just having trouble getting a hold of people.
Oh yeah, because the census happened during that time, and trying to get people counted. Yes, I remember all of that.
And then you have somebody who looks like me. Like, I look like a developer. I'm just going to be honest about that.
You're very American looking. Yes.
I show up at your door and I'm like, hey, I'm with the government. I'm here to help. Like, first instinct is to be like, all right,
close the door. Yeah.
So we had to overcome all of those challenges, and early on, it was tough to get people to even communicate. It got better. We communicated. Okay. We ended up collecting a lot of information from people, and at the end of the day, staff designed the zoning proposals for these areas based on the community input, which most of them are like Davis Street. Like I told you, they wanted to see infill development, not big boxy stuff, but they wanted to allow restaurants to go into small spaces and not have to worry about the parking. Yes. Not have to have a big parking lot. That's really the key to a lot of these older areas coming back to thriving. And then they wanted to preserve the old buildings. They didn't want a whole lot of people coming in, but they came to realize that a little bit of density will help support the restaurants and let the restaurants and the shops come in. So you got to find a way to welcome some density in. There's a balance, and that was usually the hardest thing we had to deal with, was like, how do we find that right balance for everybody, because every neighborhood's different. So we had Elmwood, which went through with really no opposition at the end. Jimtown was easy because we downzoned and from apartments to single family, but it was the first zoning in the entire city that allowed for accessory dwelling units, granny flats to be in the back. So it was a big win for the city to have this whole area that now, the neighbors were originally against it because they're like, we don't want any more density at all. And then they were like, wait a minute, half of us already have this. We already got it.
And you can offset costs of your home.
Exactly.
I mean, that's one thing that I love about South Boulevard. And of course, we don't call them ADUs because they were the servants' quarters back in the day.
Yep.
And, my dream house is still on South Boulevard. Jack Matthews, hint, hint, I want my house, so go ahead and finish it and then give it to me. Yeah. So, college student, I thought, I could rent it to somebody going to SMU. They could catch the bus. They could drive if they wanted to. I mean, there's so much opportunity, especially if you're not necessarily a high-income earner, that allows you to bring in income to offset the cost of your property, your mortgage, taxes, those sort of things.
This area that I'm talking about, Jimtown, is almost entirely Hispanic, and a lot of them have multi-generational relatives living in the house.
Yes.
And so they came to realize, wait a minute, that's where my abuela is already living in the back.
Right.
Oh, you're talking about her house.
Right.
And eventually
then
people
it
are
started
like,
clicking.
yeah, you're like, this ADU language, like, what's that? You know, so staff had to come to realize, and me and I had to come to realize, we have to, like, be talking about specific examples and not using the staff speak that sometimes people's eyes glaze.
Where they are.
People's eyes glaze over when you start using that stuff.
Yeah.
And
so I do have a question with the community outreach. And did you find that it was kind of the same people coming out for all the meetings? Because
yes,
that's something that I see in South Dallas. And as much as I try to tell people, hey, you need to know what's going on, I'm still not seeing the non-regulars.
So if I'm hosting a traditional community meeting, like a town hall, you know, if Parks Department's going to host like a survey about something, we typically do it in the same way. We'll send notices out. We'll have it at a rec center or sometimes at a park, and it is the same people. And I know all of them by name. Most of them have my cell phone number, and they provide very valuable feedback. When we want to really go deep and try to get people
that typically don't show up,
and then we really had to figure this out during COVID, you got to go to where they're at, and you got to literally set up a booth and try to get their attention. So during COVID, which then rolled into WOCAP a little bit, we went to the mercados. There's a bazaar on Westmoreland that's wildly busy on the weekends. I'd go out there with my Spanish is terrible. So
I was going to say, did you hit bone up on your Spanish?
I didn't even try because it was like I wanted to catch their attention and keep it. So I had people there who are very fluent with me and who are from the community. Right. And we would set up a table, and then for COVID, we would actually have Hunger Busters or somebody else who was providing a giveaway for folks, and we could cross market. They would be out there, and we would be out there doing registrations for COVID. And then that whole plan rolled into WOCAP. We did some joint stuff like at the supermarkets, and it worked. I mean, it wasn't perfect. There's no perfect way, or somebody would have figured it out.
Right.
But knocking on every door is not efficient. We did some of that, but it's not. I personally knocked on a lot of doors, not just during the campaign, but for WOCAP. But it's easier to get people when you go to like a place where they're already coming to.
Right.
You know, and churches are helpful too. Like we had some helpful pastors who would take our information and encourage people to go fill out a survey or hand out a flyer. So that definitely helped, and I would encourage you to do that.
Yeah, because that was the whole reasoning behind doing Coffee and Politics and starting it at my polling place in my neighborhood, because people complain that we don't see our politicians until it's campaign time. And I'm like, hey, I'm bringing them to your doorstep here. And again, nobody was showing up. I was knocking on doors. Everybody knew me. And it's like, yeah, we're going to come. And I would maybe get like 5 people to show up. Yeah. And it's just like, really? But then you're going to complain about what's happening. And I'm like, well, you have to participate. So let's get into some of this real estate here.
Okay, let's do it.
Because, and I want to close on the good examples with the city, because we do have some good ones, but we have some troubling things that cause you guys to say, we can't buy any more real estate.
Yep.
And I'm sitting here looking like, yeah. So let's talk about homelessness. As I am, since the chief is on the show, they have a pilot group, the HOT team. So I'm going to have them come on and talk about how they're doing homelessness enforcement. And so we have...
Are you going to focus on with them downtown or like all over the city?
All over the city.
Great. Okay.
Yes.
I'll definitely watch that show, because we have our own issues in District 1, just like I'm sure you do in the Park area.
Yes.
And I know they do down here in Deep Ellum as well.
Yes.
There's really everywhere. It really is.
And I was at a meeting in John Hill High, because I know I had him on the show when he was with MID and Teachers of America, and I was like, oh yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, FIFA's coming to town, so we're gonna bus up the homeless people and go drop them off somewhere else where they're not near Fair Park. And he was like, no, I'll put housing forward. more now, Cindy. We're not going to be doing that. But that's still the sentiment that people have, is that once you clear them out of another area, they just kind of crop up somewhere else, and it's look like we're just, moving the cheese around. So with that,
I mean,
yes,
and that's the thing about homelessness, though, is like there's never going to be a point
they're nomads
where everybody's going to, you're never going to see a homeless person. Like
Right.
I would love that. I think that's an amazing goal to have, but the bottom line is there's always going to be a population of homeless people that are coming. Dallas we're the central area for the services. So as housing, I'm sure John has told you,
Yes.
Housing Forward's plan is you make the funnel bigger so that as more people come in,
Yes.
there's more housing for them
Yes.
to go into, and
Yes.
there's more services for them, because
Yes.
the vast majority of people want to be housed and want to be helped. Now, there are some, and you probably run into some of them, I certainly have, who you can tell that person does not want help. They're content.
Yes.
They're content.
Yes.
But there are, I think, upwards of 90% or more who do want housing. They do want to get help. They just need to have the services and the trust that we're going to be able to take care of them.
Yes,
So
yes, I agree with that. Yes, so with that being said, so we have 2 facilities, University General Hospital and Independence Drive Motel that the city bought, one for $6.5 million, the other one for $5 million, and this was back in 2022. And I if I lived in Oak Cliff, I would be hell no, because it would make me feel like it is having Austin Street, what used to be City Place. You're just bringing it here, and now we're going to have a proliferation of more people who are on the fringes of the services, and kind of going in and out of the services, and how is that going to impact the neighborhood and making it feel like it's going to be a negative impact?
Those 2 properties, so the University General Hospital
Yes.
is the one on Hampton Road.
Yes.
And I want to come back to talk about the wildest community meeting I've ever been to was on that one. And I agree. You talk about the community, they were there.
Yes.
They were there.
Yes, they
and then
were.
The other one was it's the one in District 8, right?
Independence Drive.
Independence Drive. Thank
Yes.
you. That was so before my time, and then in the early years of my time, so like early COVID, the council had really just like a handshake agreement that we were all 14 districts were going to do our part to try to help with the issues, so that it didn't all fall on downtown, Deep Ellum,
concentrated.
Fair
Yes.
Park, right down here in the
Yes.
downtown area. And so that doesn't mean everybody gets a shelter. No one,
Right.
there's only one shelter.
Right.
And that's where people check in at night. They leave during the
They're
night.
already established. We're not going to move them, do
That's
all
the
of that
bridge.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the other options were permanent supportive housing. So people they've come out of the shelter, they've agreed to
They're
work
on
with
that stability path.
That's
Yes.
right. They're working with the provider. They're trying to get a job, or they have a job, and they're on that right path, and they're living on their own in their own apartment. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's permanent supportive. And then there's other types, like a hospice facility where somebody goes to die.
Yes.
Theoretically, a family facility where you got families that go to. So all of those were options that were on the table for us early on. I had my own, the old Miramar. That was another political issue that remember that?
Yes.
We can come back to that, but you brought up 2 properties
Yes.
in particular. The council members at the time of that handshake agreement, which was Councilman Thomas and Councilman Adkins,
Right.
This was their part to participate in that, to try to bring these options to light.
Okay.
Of course, there was a lot of pushback early on,
Yes.
especially on the Hampton one.
Yes.
And
in District 3. Yes.
I don't know how that was communicated and all that with that community. I just know from District 1's perspective, we're close enough that I had a lot of neighbors very concerned on it. Councilman Thomas, Casey put together a task force, and they worked on it for a year. And I don't think it went real well. There was not a lot of collaboration, and I think that a lot of people very, very upset. Carolyn Arnold was adamantly against it, and not doing anything there really for homelessness. So at the end of the day, Casey held a meeting, and I was invited, and Carolyn was invited. Carolyn chose not to go, but TC Broadnax, our city manager at the time, was there, and it was at the Keys Park rec center. Biggest meeting I've ever been to by far. The entire gym, it was at night, the entire gym was jam-packed with people. And there were Spanish speakers who had no interpretation.
Oh.
If you can imagine how bad that was.
Yes.
You had and then everybody else, and people were yelling. We had, I think, every news media there. The cameras were all set up, and it was one of these meetings. Like, it was hard to get folks calmed down just to even have the discussion. There were sound issues. Everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Okay.
That was the one where some guy pulled a knife. And got arrested. There was a guy that pulled a knife there. I don't know what context, but we had a lot of cops that ended up coming in, and it's the only time in my entire city council career, with one exception, where I had a cop escort me to my car because there was so much going on. It was so wild.
Wow. Okay, because I remember attending the golf course meeting. And this is when the Huffine twins were going to redevelop it and make basically zero lot houses on the golf course.
Oh, Golf Club Dallas, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And,
I didn't go to that one.
Oh my gosh, when it wasn't Dawn said, y'all just don't have good taste. I went, oh duck, because that was a more affluent area of the district, and people were concerned that their property values were going to change negatively with this new development at the golf course, and now it's city-owned. KC ended up with discretionary money, bought it, and I don't know what the status is of it today. But yeah, but that meeting just sounded like that. So now what's going on with those properties? Are they just empty? Like, what are we doing?
The Hampton property in particular, there is a happy ending coming for that property.
Okay.
So I think after all the pushback that came from mostly District 3,
Yes.
Elk Cliff community members, staff has listened. Zarin Gracie was really great about making sure everyone was heard, and the community basically said we would be willing, because that's always my question. Like, I hear no, and I'm like, all right, well, what could you accept?
Right.
And quite honestly, the city owns it, right?
Yes.
We used bond money for homelessness there. We can't just put single family homes that are going to sell for $1 million.
Because it's bond money, and I want people to understand. So once it's been given that designation, and that money has been tied to that,
right,
it has to be something similar.
There's got to be some aspect of it there. Well, there were multiple. An RFP, so like a request for proposals, was put out, and multiple folks had replied. Staff, from everything I've seen, has actually used what the community said they would be willing to accept, and they chose the developer based on that requirement. So now we're at the process of where the final contract, I guess all the contracts being drawn up by the city attorney, and it takes as long as you might imagine it does. And so when that's done, it will finally be finalized. And it's going to be a combination of housing. There is some permanent supportive housing that will be on the site that's in the building that's existing now. But there will be some, from what I understand, some for sale properties on there and some rental properties on there too. And then hopefully they're going to try to do a retail component on Hampton Road, which makes sense to have some small scale retail on there. There's so much traffic already on Hampton.
Yes.
I think it'll be a huge win for everyone. It's also, the city's going to come out net neutral on this, and we're not losing money on this property, which the city has done in the past.
Yes.
I'm kind of going off track a little bit for a second, but one issue that happened under previous city management was staff would go out and do these real estate deals and not use professionals like CBRE or professional brokers to help them and advise them. They're just going out and actually negotiating deals on their own. It's a huge issue.
HGTV, being a fan of that does not make you a wheeler and dealer when it comes to real estate. So
that's a great point. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Staff needs professional advice, and they need to listen to the professionals who are in the industry every day.
Yes.
And they're doing that now.
Okay.
That's why we have a contract with CBRE.
Okay, very good. That takes me to 7800 Simmons, because that's been a debacle.
That was part of the same regime before.
Okay.
And that property is on the market for sale. I do think the city will lose money on that property. But we need to get it out.
It's costing us of what, 70,000 or something like that a month
for security,
yes,
and for just maintaining operations of it. So we need to get it off our books so that the taxpayers aren't footing the bill to keep it operational
yes,
moving forward.
Yes.
So these transactions, like, were under the old regime, staff representing that they are, this is a great deal for the city. We're very skeptical now, and that's why we're very, very careful of making sure we don't just give staff an open checkbook to go out and do this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
we're not getting burned like that again.
Yeah, because it sounds like with all of the money that was being poured into it to retrofit it for permitting to be there, right? That's where.
That's right.
It sounded a lot like what DISD was doing with their money hole, with their administration office off of Walnut Hill, and they just stuck it out. But yeah, the city, hopefully, just
the city needs to set an example of,
yes,
of wherever we're at. If we stay in the current city hall, we move somewhere else, and then for all of our other facilities, our parks facilities, our golf courses that the city owns,
yes,
we need to set the example for being up to code, being ADA compliant, it doesn't have to be the nicest facilities in the world. Like, it shouldn't
well,
be, really.
It's government.
But
yes,
it's got to at least be up to code. And
right.
That's a bare minimum for us.
Okay. So I was puzzled by this one, and I understand. I've been a huge fan of Nicosina, and hi Ray. Hopefully one of these days I'll actually meet you in person. How did we end up buying 4 acres of the Dallas Morning News property?
So the convention center budget, I think, is important to note, is separate from taxpayer general fund money.
Okay.
The convention center budget is its own beast. It's
yes.
funded by
the hot tax, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's funded by itself. It's self-generating in that the conventions that come in pay for that operation to go on, and then ideally, and as has been in the past, like, the tax revenue from the hotel stays goes to the city, which
yes.
we then use to supplement our budget,
yes.
right? For police, fire, libraries, parks, all that
yes.
stuff. So that 4 acres that you referenced is needed for us, for the city, to build the convention center that we need to stay competitive in this national market.
Okay, so it is close to that because
it's connected to it.
Okay, yeah, because I'm just a regular Dallasite, and I run past there, and I used to go there to shoot my voice, my opinion for WFAA, and all I see is the Omni is in between there. I don't see how that was connected to the future development.
So when I say connected, I misspeak. It's not directly connected right now, but the whole back part behind the Omni
yes.
is going to be tied in to the convention center expansion. So
okay.
that building, I don't think the final plans are in place for it yet, but it could be more meeting rooms for the convention center. There could be a hotel concept there. All of that is part of the convention center master plan in some meaningful way.
Okay.
And then part of the draw for the convention center, the conventions that come in, and us having the big medical conventions and all the automotive conventions and all these things that we're trying to get, right? Is to have hotels directly connected to the convention center. Like, you go to, if anybody's been to like Nashville to the convention center there, or I think Vegas, I know Chicago.
What about the Battery in Atlanta?
I haven't been to that one, but so at a lot of times you'll see that there are hotels that are connected to the convention center. They're either directly touching it, or there's tunnels or like there's skywalks that are connected to it.
Okay.
That's very important for Visit Dallas to be able to sell these conventions, to have hotels connected. So the convention center group is trying to get the convention center to get close enough so where the Hyatt Regency can actually be connected as well, because that's a lot of hotel rooms that can be added to the list. There will likely be a hotel on the Dallas Morning News site. The Omni's a lot of hotel rooms.
Yes.
And there'll probably be 1 or 2 more hotels somewhere else on all of the development site.
So the Lorenzo was just ahead of his time.
The Lorenzo.
I was not team that hotel going up there. I'm sorry. I wanted, but I didn't live in the Cedar, so I didn't have, a stake in that.
So your run route takes you over in front of Dallas Morning News? Because that's part of my run route.
Yes. So if I come by George Allen, then I will go ahead and turn whatever that street is right there at the train station, run past there, and then turn right at the Omni, and then head on down Botham John, because that'll take me. I mean, it goes into South Dallas, so I can literally run Botham John all the way back into my neighborhood and just turn on any street I want to. So when I want to do my long runs, regular long runs, I will make that loop around, and it's a little over 6 miles.
So when I've done my 6-mile loop, I have one that goes through a bunch of neighborhoods. I go down Davis and then through West Kessler and then around Coombs Creek.
Yeah.
But there's another route I have that's 7 miles that I leave. I live on Bishop Avenue, like real close to Bishop Arts. So I leave my house, I go up to Methodist Hospital, I kind of go around Lake Cliff Park, and then I'll go across the Houston Viaduct.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the streetcar's at.
Yeah.
And from there to the Katy Trail, actually, I run up to the Katy Trail. That is from there, and I go up about a 1/4 mile, turn around and come back. That's 7 miles.
Yeah.
And you get water on the Katy Trail. That's one thing as a runner, you realize that you got to think about your water stops.
So during the summer, I run.
Oh, you do?
I take mine with me, and I have additional weights in the backpack. And so when the temperature finally drops, I fly, because I get rid of all of the weight, and it makes my time just shoot up.
Yeah, I bet.
So during the summer, I'm doing like 13, 14-minute miles, and then when the fall comes, I can do a recovery run between 10 and 11 and just cruise. So,
good for you.
Yeah, because I'm actually 8 weeks out from doing a 5K, and so I'm planning on, I want to target 20 minutes but I doubt that I will do that, but working on the sub 30.
Good for you. Okay. Well, 20 minutes would be insane.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, it would. But Team Dog for Mayor, we used to do the bagel run every year, and so I almost did it then, but she had to have a potty break.
Oh, okay.
So we did 32.9. So I was like, and we were just cruising. We weren't. I love Team Dog for Mayor because she was just built. She's built for running.
Built for running.
Yes. So I'm actually going to do a race here in July, and I'm saying to myself, who are you? Because you do not run in the heat. You do not pay to run in the heat.
Which race do you know?
Run for the Blue.
Oh, yeah. I've done that one, but that's a great race. I've
been told I'm going to have a lot of fun.
It's a good race. I think if it's early, it's close to 4th of July, right?
Yes, it was on the 4th, but because of FIFA, they moved it to the 11th.
I think I'm out of town then because we're going to Colorado. But it's a fun race.
Yes.
Lots of cops out there running.
Yes. Yes.
You should do Blue Goes Pink.
Okay.
It's a breast cancer awareness run sponsored by DPD. I feel like it's in the fall. It's a fun race.
Okay.
And last year we got lost on the course because they switched the course. Previous years it started and ended at Mockingbird Station, and you stay on the trail up there the whole time, and it's out and back. This last year they sent us onto the SMU campus, and people didn't know where to turn. I mean, there's worse places places to get lost in Highland Park, SMU, but it was. I didn't know where I was going. I was like the third runner.
Oh,
and
wow.
So but the first 2 guys were so fast they left me in the dust.
Yeah.
And so I was like, where am I turning? and my kids were on the course somewhere. I was getting all nervous. I had the cops looking for them. Yeah. It was crazy. Wow.
Well, definitely, because I told my daughter that I am ready for us to cross the finish line together.
Oh, that'd be
because
nice.
we did the BMW 10K. She fell in love with running with me, and we crossed the finish line together. So I'm looking forward to us doing that again. So
In the heat this time.
yeah, unfortunately, typically I like to run in the fall or early spring before the temps go up.
Well, I will tell you, if you probably saw this at the BMW, I've run races all over the country, and the BMW marathon, the energy of that race, despite being
Cold.
ridiculously cold
Yeah.
this last year, but the people out there cheering, the elements along the race route, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Of course, I've never run like New York or Boston Marathon, but I feel like we've got a city that really supports this here.
Yes. So then that takes us to a question that someone sent in. Well, okay. So back to real estate and portfolio.
Yeah. How do we get on running?
I know, right? So you have the contract with CBRE, and I did speak to Rob, and I told him I was going to send him an email about kind of what are they looking for when they look at the city's portfolio to advise the city on, what to do with this real estate, so we're not stressing our sales tax revenue and our property tax owners hand in funding this stuff that's not benefiting them.
Yeah, so can we talk about the budget and then we'll go into that? Because I think it all leads into that. So I think if you've been paying attention to the media at all, like you realize the city is in a budget crunch right now.
Yes.
Our expenses have gone up partially because of Proposition U and S.
Yes.
And our commitment, which we were already doing to
Yes.
police and fire pension. And then our revenues are projected to be down from sales tax revenue being down, partly because the convention center is closed for renovations.
Okay.
It's open during FIFA for the International Media Center, but otherwise closed. So we're going to have reduced revenue for convention center, reduced sales tax projections. So revenue down, expenses up, we're in a budget crunch, right? And the city manager, Kim's done a good job of trying to get ahead of that. In the fall, it's going to be more difficult. So we're looking at cuts, but we should also be, in my mind, looking at revenue generation. And part of the way to do that is to find better ways to activate the real estate you're sitting on.
Right.
The city owns thousands of buildings, thousands. And we have 50,000 acres of real estate. Now, a lot of that includes Fair Park, and our libraries and our parks and all the buildings that are on there.
Yes.
And so a lot of it's we're never going to do it. Like, we're going to keep it. We're going to be stewards for the taxpayers. But there's a lot of real estate out there that we can do better with.
Okay.
And that's what CBRE is advising us on. For about 4 years now, we've been pushing as part of the finance committee. It used to be called something else, but it doesn't matter. We've been pushing for the city to come up with a master plan for real estate. CBRE is doing that. And so they take the whole portfolio and they're like, all right, you've got, just an example I'm making up here, right? You got 2 parks facilities where they keep their maintenance trucks within 4 miles of each other. You could combine all your trucks into this one site and sell this other 4-acre property, and there's $1 million. But more importantly, you're taking that off your books. You don't have to provide the maintenance for it. So it's a cut, and it's also revenue from that thing. And we've got to do it just like any company has to do that.
Yes.
Because we have a big budget, and we've got to meet that budget. And unlike the federal government, we have to balance our budget every year.
Yes. We don't get to print money.
We don't get to print money.
We don't get to print money. So that is very interesting, because I know I have seen some properties, and I hate they were torn down. They were little storefronts, little masonry storefronts. I think I want to say like on Colonial, and I didn't even know. I was like, what is the city doing owning stuff?
We owned those?
Yes. I visit BCAD quite a bit. So I was kind of puzzled by that, and I know just in my neighborhood there has been a lot of turnover with lots and houses, and the Chodos getting lots and doing housing and all of those things. And it's just, we have our government, and our government serves us, but it's not a solution for everything. And so being on the outside looking in, it's like, well, why are we in a position where we're scooping all this stuff up and someone else is profiting off of it? And the city, and it's nothing unique to Dallas, municipalities are not known for getting top dollar when they sell real estate. So for me, I'm just like, yeah, it helps someone else out, but in the end, it costs the city money that we could have used for those schools, those libraries, getting our streets fixed and whatnot.
Well, a lot of the reason that cities have ended up on the wrong side of a real estate transaction is because they're not using professional advisors. And I think you mentioned, some of these bad property deals in the past. It's when staff believes they can go out there and negotiate with people who do this for a living, who are frankly financial sharks, and they're going to make the best profit they can, not thinking about the taxpayers. So we need somebody who's got, we pay them to have the taxpayers' best interests at heart. And that's CBRE in this case.
Would it behoove us to hire talent? Not saying that is specifically their wheelhouse, but have more knowledge and expertise in that area to complement and bring some of that in-house. I'm not saying completely sever ties with a vendor, but having more knowledgeable staff work at the city.
I think that's certainly something to consider, but I would not support losing the third party at any point, because once someone comes in, number one, we couldn't pay them enough to work for the city.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the private market, we just cannot compete with those salaries.
Okay.
And we want them to have their own financial incentive through, I guess, commissions or what have you, to be able to give us the best advice and get us the best money if we're trying to sell something.
Okay.
You want to build that competitive piece into it that we can't do necessarily as a city.
Yeah, and I see that. I just, would like for the staff to have more knowledge.
More training is always a good thing.
Yes.
And in that way, as people in CBRE or whoever we end up contracting with transfer over, move on in their life, retire, what have you, you've got some continuity on the city in dealing with these transactions. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So, okay, city,
Come on.
Exactly. So let's talk about some things, some wins for the city in this area. So Cabana Design District, which is a hotel site and became a modern hub. Goldman Sachs at North End Development, so it strengthened downtown and the uptown core. So there have been some projects that have been wins for the city. Or were those just flukes, or what happened there?
No, I mean, these are both examples of public-private partnerships where you've got the city subsidizing. In the Cabana case, it's because there's an affordability component. So there'll be housing in there, a good portion of which, if possibly all of it, maybe is affordable. So it's providing that housing that's fairly close to jobs, it's close to transit, all those good things, and it's being used to preserve a historic building. That's where the Beatles stayed, right? In the Cabana Hotel.
Yes.
And then the Goldman Sachs, another public-private partnership, Texas Stock Exchange. There's all of these things go towards the city letting the private market do its thing, but us supplementing them in a way that's going to help them incentivize to come to Dallas versus going to Houston or Austin or somewhere else. I think Dallas does a really great job, and I can be critical of the city all day too, but I think on the public-private partnerships and on economic development, the staff does a really good job. I have to give the mayor credit as well for really making that a priority.
Okay, well that's good to hear. So seeing that, we have this budget issue, and I've been going back and starting to dig into previous budgets here. So since we're squeezing money here, and it's been recommended to, have staff cuts and all of these things, if it comes down to it financially, Would you be willing to reconsider City Hall if financially this would jeopardize us with severely cutting services for the residents and the taxpayers to stay in City Hall until we get to a better financial place where moving and paying rent, because rent's not going to be cheap, and we don't have a line item for that.
My position on City Hall is the same now as it was on day one when we started having these conversations, which is that we've got to look at this from a financial lens. There is the historic lens, and that's very important, and we need to keep that on the table as well. But we've got to have the full financial picture of what it costs for us to, if the decision is to move out, then the cost for us to move out and lease a place long term, or lease to buy, or whatever it ends up being, and all that goes with that, getting it ready for city government, getting it secure, retrofitted for what we need. Or the alternative is we stay in City Hall and
take care of critical projects.
And yet, do we need to do it all at once? No, we don't. But at some point, we've got to replace the pipes. We've got to replace the electrical. We got to get the asbestos out.
We don't dispute that.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like, there is a cost associated with that, and if we stay in City Hall, it's very likely we're going to have to move out the majority of folks at some point. So all of these numbers need to come in before we can make a decision on City Hall. And I think it's unfortunate some council members don't even want to collect the data. They just say no. I think it's irresponsible because there is a cost associated with staying in City Hall. No one in any of the past decades has put any money into that building. Including my current council.
Yes.
And the
reason,
because
all of y'all said no to ADA.
And that's a whole nother thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But the bottom line is, my council, previous councils have said we're not putting money into it because, you know what, it's more important that we fix our pool. It's more important that we fix our libraries.
Yes.
I've got a pool that was on the chopping block last budget, Martin Weiss pool, and 5,500 people use it in the small window of summer that it's open.
Oh, I would have a problem if someone said Exelon. I would, and I don't. We've just started using Exelon. Thank you, Daniel Wood and Tiffany Young, for making those changes there. But I would have a problem because I know how important that pool has been for the community at large.
And so if we shut down that pool, or Martin Weiss pool, because we can't come up with $5 million to fix it, how am I going to go to tell my residents, well, I didn't even go through the financial analysis of City Hall, I'm just going to commit the future to paying $100 million or $1 billion to fix this building? It's we've got to go through that analysis and compare our priorities as a city, and not doing so is just passing the buck to the next generation. Somebody at some point is going to either have to take a bond out, or just we're gonna have to close a lot of things in order to pay for City Hall. Something's got to happen with it, and I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I just say I want to have the full picture in front of me.
So, and I have said that about Fair Park.
Fair Park's
another one, because I told Nancy Johnson, I was like, hey, Mill Creek runs under the Hall Estate, and it could completely make that building just sink into the ground. And of course, I know people who work there, and I know that the Mill Creek Tunnel Project is going to eliminate that. But one of the concerns I have about demolishing the building is, one, that is an incredible expense. Mm-hmm. And knowing the time period that it was built in, that was not asbestos-free cement. Oh,
there's asbestos in there. Yeah.
And that, how do we abate that? Because we are not catching mesothelioma via wind and traveling, and because that puts the Cedars, that puts South Dallas, that puts District 4, even your district, in jeopardy, depending on how the wind blows. If it blows north, we could end up having some medical cases that a hungry attorney would go, let's go sue the city because we have lung cancer now.
I mean, it's it's a concern, and that's the kind of thing we need to have the data on before any decisions made.
Okay.
And by us enabling staff to go out and get that, and to get the costs of all those renovations, the forecast for economic development in that area, that's the full picture that we need to have. And at the end of the day, we're going to get criticized on either decision we make, right?
Of course.
But we should have
Yes.
the data in front of us
Yes.
to be able to do that.
Okay, so I did put someone out to task to find out who was buying the Lorenzo. Because I said, that would be perfect for the Mavericks to have their corporate office.
There you go.
And their medical facility for both private and public for the team and everyone. And it's not far away.
It's not far away.
So that would decrease their need for the 50 acres
It's
that they're...
quite possible. What I would love to see is whether City Hall stays or goes. I would love to see that whole area be redeveloped, because there's a lot of vacant parking lots,
Yes!
excess roads.
And it has
Yeah.
always been that way,
It's-
as far back as I can remember.
We need a catalyst. We need
Yes.
a catalyst. And for me, you mentioned the Mavericks. Whether the Mavericks go to Valley View or if they stay in downtown, it's a win for the city. Either place they go is a win. What is a loss for the city is if they go to Irving. And I fully...
Oh, but no. Irving said no to casino. They said no to the casino.
Mavericks have said they'll build a facility separate from casino. They've said it publicly.
Okay.
They've said it publicly.
Okay.
So Valley View or downtown, or if there's some other location I'm not aware of, those are the two they've identified. It's still tax revenue for the city of Dallas, and that's what we want.
So, and I attended Kathy Stewart's meeting, and
We're doing one. I'm doing one too.
And I want to come.
Come on.
All right. So, for me, it took a long time to get the AAC to 1.7 billion that it generates, and for me, it's just moving the money, and that is a city-owned property, paid off, and I'm saying, doesn't it still fit your needs, and you can buy it?
Well, I think it's important for us to realize we can't tell the Mavs what to do. They're they're a private company. And so if the Mavericks want to go to wherever they want to go, it's up to them. All we can do is incentivize them in some way or another to try to stay in Dallas. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what Kim's working on. For the AAC, I agree with everything you said. There is a good possibility. I don't want to say good. There is a possibility we keep the Stars there. Yeah. And there's a possibility the Dallas Wings end up playing their games in there as well. So the Stars...
Not temporarily.
Possibly permanently. I don't know.
Yes.
That's being discussed.
Yes.
You like that?
Yes. Because we voted for that hot tax, that $3 billion for the convention center for Fair Park. I don't want Fair Park to get shortchanged.
That's right.
We need that money.
A lot of folks have been talking about City Hall. Look at the Hall of State. Look at a lot of those historic buildings over there that need so much renovation.
Yes.
The
science building looks like Zombieland has got. It looks like the apocalypse has happened. Yes.
And the music hall is one of the most beautiful buildings in the city.
Yes.
They're trying to do a private fundraiser right now. A lot of money is needed for that facility to keep it in its current form, improve it to what it was originally built to be. I think the Hall of State's the prettiest building in the city of Dallas.
It is.
It's absolutely gorgeous, and
yes,
it's had some renovations, thankfully, but it needs a lot more.
And Team Dog for Mayor, and you have to meet the intern.
Oh.
Yes, you have to meet the intern because she is a little feisty something. So when the mayor is ready to retire, y'all need to watch out. The city staff needs to watch out because I've been bit by the intern just trying to keep her from eating a peach seed where she had to have stomach surgery to get it removed.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, she's a feisty little something, but they love the Fair Park, and the mayor even loves the pool at City Hall. She went in it, and I was mad. I was fussing at her because she had her hoodie on, and she just went ahead and just jumped in. Now the intern was looking like, I'm not doing that.
You should post some pictures of that. I'd love to see.
I will send them to you. But the Fair Park, I want to make sure that commitment is honored because it needs so much.
It needs so much, and the community deserves it, and the community has been promised it. So
Yes.
from my end, I don't think any council member would support taking any funds away from Fair Park.
Okay.
I just can't imagine
Okay.
that even be something, and how they would justify it would blow my mind.
Yeah, because I have said that I will play my theme song, She's on Fire by Alicia Keys, and I will set stuff on fire. So I want the Fair Park to get because it was promised up to $325 million. And I do understand that Memorial Stadium is supposed to get its refresh as well. But I like hearing the wings would be at the AAC.
Mm-hmm. I think like it's a possibility. Now, again, the wings have got to agree to it,
right?
But it's part of the discussions that are ongoing. Temporarily, it's almost certainly going to happen. The permanently, that'll be. So council members, we can't.
It just makes sense.
It just makes sense. So we can't, council members, ethically or legally negotiate with these teams.
Sure.
But we can instruct the city manager on what our goals are, and then she crafts it and negotiates for us. So
yes.
This is all happening right now with Kim and the teams.
Because I know Kim has been catching a lot of fire over this, and I said, hey, one, she knew this job was coming with a lot, and two, I felt like she was carrying water for somebody else, because I was like, knowing her as long as I have, my show has been successful because of her and getting city staff to come on the show whenever I wanted someone, that I was just like, she has a love for this city too.
Certainly. I think Kim is our biggest cheerleader for the city, and she and I don't always agree 100% on things, and there are certain things I've been critical of her both publicly and privately, but overall I think Kim's doing a great job, and she truly cares. And that's the thing about city staff is they get beat up so much.
Yes.
They get beat up so much, and they can't publicly push back. They're just like a whipping post up there, or like a punching bag. It's like we've got to do a better job of making sure they're really getting beat up when they need to be beat up for the right things, but protecting them better when they're really just doing their job.
Okay, well, I am happy to hear that the possibilities of keeping the stars and having the wings there, because I just think that would be a huge loss for that area, with it being so built up.
Yeah.
And it took time
to get there. It just got there. Yeah.
Yes. So I would hate for that to just turn around and then become a ghost town again.
Me too.
So I'm very happy to hear that, because I have been critical with the numbers and saying, for me, the math is not mathing. It's not adding up. There's more pieces that have to be considered, and I just wanted to make sure that before a decision was, and I tell people all the time, yes, I remember when the building was constructed. I was 6 when it was completed. I'm giving my age here, and
and I don't want to put mine out there. I think we're close to the same age.
And yes, it's historic. It's part of the brand of Dallas.
It is.
Okay?
The building's beautiful.
Yes, it's. People think Dallas, they think that building, but I know it's going to come down to the numbers. I know it's going to come down to, does this make financial sense? And so I have been critical of the numbers. I have been critical of, what does this mean outfitting other buildings? What does this mean moving 911, 311 in traffic? Making sure that we have staff safe, but we don't lose our services because we're a terrorist watch city. And making sure that, this investment that we have, we protect it overall, because we're all Dallas.
No, this is all happening right now. All these discussions are going on. Kim is at the table with the Mavericks, with the Stars, with the Wings, dealing with all of this. And I mean, ultimately, like, I don't want to paint any doom and gloom on that, but it is all happening. But what is positive is the economic engine that Dallas is right now. We've got the New York Stock or the Texas Stock Exchange.
Yes.
We've got Goldman Sachs coming here. Staffs has other. Scotiabank just came, and I know
Yes.
that economic development's negotiating with a couple other corporations that are coming here. Every day I'm hearing from new neighbors who just moved here from California who now want to live in Oak Cliff because it's walkable and there's great parks and it's close to downtown and all the jobs, and also people from New York moving here. Like, we are a draw for lots of new people coming in the region. We've got DISD is actually doing fantastic compared to most other public school systems in the state. And so we have a lot to be really proud of in the city of Dallas, and we got to just make sure we harness that momentum, and we pour a lot of our energy into downtown to make sure downtown just takes off.
Yes.
Downtown is where I think we're hurting right now a little bit.
Well, it sounds like it needs a master plan.
It needs a master plan, whether that's the Mavericks or whether that's something else. The area around City Hall has got to be energized, and it's coming.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, there you have it, guys. Always, Councilman West, thank you.
So good
Always come on the show whenever I ask, so I definitely appreciate that. So, guys, I'm still like buzzing from this conversation, so make sure that you check the events on Coffee and Politics to see who is coming out here next. Again, if you're not able to watch it live, you'll be able to watch this on demand. All of the shows are being housed on YouTube because Facebook gets rid of them after 30 days. So if you're not able to catch it, just bookmark the YouTube page and go out and listen to it while you're driving around. You're multitasking, so you can stay on top of what is going on here at the city and what your local government is doing for you. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in.